Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I was driving by seeing who I could help out. It's the end of the season, kind of hard to come by anything nowadays, but I saw that their front yard was a little bit overgrown, so I decided to knock on the door, and I'm glad that they answered. A young gal with the baby answered, and I said, hey, would you like your yard cleaned up? And she said, I would absolutely love that. How much do you charge? I'm like, I don't charge anything. I make money through the content I create, and so I'm able to give back to the community. And she's like, man, we would really appreciate that. My husband has been working super hard and providing for the family and just trying to upkeep with, at least getting the back and the front somewhat maintained. Things have been getting a little bit too out of control, and so he and the whole family need some help. We're going to restore their yard. This is their back and side yard. As you can see, all of the garden beds are completely overgrown. The husband had planned to clean this up in October when things slow down, and we're going to help him out by doing it for him. His plan was to cut down all the weeds everywhere, including that side portion there, and move all these garden beds over to the right side, and then plant grass seed over here and extend the lawn out just a bit. As you can see, the lawn isn't even overgrown. I mean, we're going to run over it with our mower. Why not? We're going to take some of those old leaves, push them out of the bed into the lawn and mulch them up and bag everything. And then we got this side yard here that also needs to be cleaned up. We're going to trim down all the weeds, blow them out this way. And if you can't tell already, it is smoky season. So the sun was dark red this morning coming up, and you can actually look at it without hurting your eyes. I suggest you not do that ever. But what kind of caught my attention, as you can see, grass poking out, 8 to 10 inches, folded here. Side here needs to be mowed, edged, trimmed, and the edges need to be restored as well. Sorry about the wind. This one is not too bad. Tree's not too bad. We're probably not going to do anything there. And we of course got weeds in the cracks, weeds around a fire hydrant, and there is your front yard. Again, not too bad, pretty easy. I think it should take us maybe I don't even know, a couple hours, 3 hours maybe, and we'll get this place nice and shiny for them, save them a bunch of time, save them a headache from doing it themselves. Why not? That's what we're here for. Hope you stay tuned to the end for the amazing before and after pictures. Anyways, guys, let's begin working. Even at 2.5 inches, it still looks a bit too long, so we're gonna drop it down to 2 inches. So I was cutting, right? It's my first time using this John Deere, and I'm like trying to set it to 2 inches. I'm like, man, it still feels too high. Well, I had it like right here. I thought I'm so used to the X-Mark dropping it all the way, and I didn't notice that it didn't latch all the way. So with this lever system, you not only have a pin for your memory, you also have a latch. I'll have to zoom in, but there's notches here, and the whole lever, the deck lever, has to snap in place. You got to get that snap so it doesn't move on you. So now I have to mow everything again. It's all right. That's more like it. That's more like a 2-inch cut right there. So now we got to do the same thing here and then do the whole front. Hey, you know, definitely stripe's nice for a 36-inch mower without a striping kit. But I do have a good amount of things to say about my first impressions using this mower, so always check out the Plus channel. I'll have it linked in the description down below. just like that, guys, we are all done. Got it all cleaned up, bagged. We're gonna haul it away, take it to the waste management. And we got this side cleaned up. We also got the front yard cleaned up, the bed's blown out. We had to be careful on that one because of all of the mulch that's installed. They put barely any mulch, so as soon as you put your blower on it, you start exposing the weed barrier fabric and you start blowing all the mulch in here. So if I were them, I would have put some fresh mulch and put like that mulch glue and stuff so it kind of holds it in place. And then we of course got the side yard cleaned up, blown to the back here, and then taken to the truck. Oh, forgot about this. This side cleaned up. We had to trim this whole thing here. That's what I decided to do because there's just way too many bumps and curves and all that. Like if I put my mower on here, it's just gonna be such an uneven cut. And even that was really pushing it with that 36-inch commercial mower. But that front yard, whew, got it striped. I am partnered up with John Deere for the year, and they're essentially replacing the Exmark Stars. But it's definitely something that I need to get used to. But again, that was just my first run, and we'll see kind of how it goes. So anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. God bless you. We'll see you in the next one, and enjoy these before and after pictures.